Finally, today's the day we catch Quaxly, and that means I've got to needlefelt him. Let's do it. Here's what I would say, but I'm actually out of wool. Crafting a Pokeball in my own clothes really took a lot out of my supplies. Good thing I made a phone call earlier. Here they are. They're called Wooloo. I've talked about this before, but I own a bunch of them back home. I actually want to come up with a group name for them, so let me know in the comments if you have any ideas. Anyway, here's what we'll need to needlefelt Quaxly. White wool, blue wool, black wool and some yellow wool. Some felt will be handy too. First off, get a ball of pre-made wool. You can make one yourself, but it's quite time consuming. We're making a head right now, but since Quaxly's head isn't a perfect sphere, we need to slightly change the shape. Next up, we need some white wool from Wooloo. Make sure to use multiple layers of it for a smooth look. Next, we're onto the hat. It's a bit of a weird shape. It's a mix between a cuboid and a semicircle. Having to make that kind of shape from scratch is a bit tricky. This little bit that sticks out here is what we're doing now. I don't really know what to call it, but it's this part. It can be helpful to use extra wool on top of this to help merge it into one. We're going to be needing a lot of blue from Wooloo now, or should that be Blueloo? Don't forget to save some blue wool for later too. Now, we're making a little white wave on his hat. It can be a bit tricky to get it angled correctly, so just take it slow. This is quite a hard bit for me. We're making eyes, and it's always been something I've struggled with. It's probably because they're so small. This Quaxly is a lot bigger than my other models, so it should be a bit easier. If you needlefelt them too much when they're small, the fibres will just come apart. Now, we need another Wooloo for a tiny bit of black wool. This can also be tricky. Again, just take it slow since a misplaced poke will show up on the white wool quite easily. Once those eyebrow thingies are done, you can needlefelt the eyes on. It's easier in this order so you can get the correct placement. Hello yellow Wooloo. This is the beak. It's probably one of the more easier parts of this craft. This is the last bit of black wool you need today. It can be quite hard to do this since it's so thin, but needlefelting the mouth on helps to give it some personality. And that's the head done. That's all of the hard work out of the way now. It's time to craft up the body now. It's a similar technique to before. We're crafting up a base before covering it in white wool. Have you noticed that Quaxly has this little tuft of feathers, I guess, underneath his head? It can be quite easy to miss, but it's a nice little detail to include. Oh, and it's time for his wings, and I'm actually winging this part. I'm cutting a wing shape out of felt and wrapping it in wool. Normally I'd just needlefelt it with wool from the get-go, but this way I'm able to keep the shape of the wing intact. It also helps to make sure that both of the wings match. You could even create the wings with felt alone, but adding wool makes it more 3D. It's time for the flippers, and there's no need to ring it this time because it's the same technique as before. Oh, hey Wooloo, it's been a while. Don't forget to create a little leg for this flipper to attach to. I actually find it best to put the pins through the legs, that way you can attach them to Quaxly in different places. You could make it look like he's on the floor or standing up tall. Hey, it looks like we're just about done. Phew, that actually took a while. But it's time to use that Pokeball we've crafted up before. Oh, I missed completely. Oh, it jumped. We caught Quaxly with our first Pokeball. Thank goodness. Otherwise I'd have to craft another. But let's bring him out. Look at him. I think I did quite well myself. To be honest, I quite like crafting this little hat, but attaching it to the head was quite hard. I'm also quite bad at needle felting eyes, but I think I did a good job here. Well, what's our needle felt next?